I started recording. Today we'll take the literature. We'll take chapter 3, unit 3, chapter 12. Do you remember what was the excerpt about, girls? What was this excerpt about? Grade 10.
Yes,
Yes, what was this excerpt about? Fatima, what was it about?
it was about the omnimission dilemma, that how the cheap things attract people more and the cheap things are unhealthy.
Yes, the cheap food. Yes, yes. And
most of the Americans are nowadays fat due to this and unhealthy.
yes. What was the cause behind the cause, girls? Who remember the cause behind the cause of obesity and the extremity of junk food? And
The food is abundant and cheap.
excellent, food is abundant and cheap. What is the cause behind the food is abundant and cheap? The cause behind the cause.
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
The policies that the government implemented to make sure that the most grown crops are the soybeans and the corn.
Excellent, excellent. The strategies that the government had set for planting corn and soybeans, because they are the raw materials for the whole junk food. Girls, junk food, you go and buy a burger and you buy chicken, fried chicken. How the ingredient, the basic raw materials or ingredients are corn and soybeans. You can guess what? That what you eat is never pure meat and never pure chicken. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll share for you the PowerPoint. Can you see the PowerPoint, girls?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so here. Open page 272. Did you open them?
Yes.
Yes. First question, we have, after reading the text, we have a few discussion questions. Malak Wasim. Malak. Lana Meher.
Miss? Yes, Miss.
Yes,
Malak
Malak.
can't open her mic.
Okay,
It's
Lana.
lagging. Yes, Miss.
Yes, read the question.
After reading this text, what new thoughts do you have about your own eating habits? Refer to the detail that most struck you.
What are the details that mostly struck you of this excerpt? When you read it, what were the new ideas came up to you or popped up into your mind?
That the fast food or processed food is more dangerous than I thought.
Yes, fats are more dangerous than you thought.
Yes.
Yes. What other thoughts about your own eating habits? Can any other girl answer? Thank you, Lana. Any other girl can answer? This excerpt. Yes, please.
I
Kadra?
think nothing is shocking because, we already know it and we just ignore it.
We already know it and we just ignore it. Okay, for me, it was the first time to know that about the strategies that U.S. Fed signs. This was shocking, that the government itself encourages people to eat unhealthily, okay, and then they ask them for insurance and health care and okay. Other girls, what other details struck you of the excerpt? No one? Girls?
That like the organization, they don't care if it's unhealthy, but since it's benefit their like the money and
Financially, yes.
yeah, so it's that's why it's good for them.
Yes, excellent, sir. So, read it, Malak Wasim.
Yes, miss. Answers will vary. Some of Poland's statistics might strike some students as startling.
Yes. Question number 2. Dana Wael. رغد. ليان فاضل. ليان مغربي.
Yes, Miss, I only have what other books, articles, or movies does.
Does took. Let me check the answer. What other books, articles, or movies does the Omnivore's dilemma remind you of? Have you ever watched any movie or any documentary or any read any article about the same idea?
I'm not sure if it was the name of the series, but there's this series called How Is It Made? And I think they once talked about how hot dogs were made, and it shows that they were made of very unnatural substances.
Really?
Yes.
What was it called?
I think it's How Is It Made? I'm not sure, so.
Okay. Let's check after we finish. Thank you, dear. Okay. So then we start 272. Okay. Asma?
Yes, miss.
Yes, read, dear. On page 272, read the third read from third read, evaluating an argument, because it's an argument, because he has an opinion. Yes.
Okay. Objective. As you read the excerpt for a third time, identify Poland's central claim. Read the text critically, noting which paragraphs contain sufficient and valid evidence and which ones seem lacking in support. Write any questions you have in the My Thoughts column.
Yes.
Focus on evaluating an argument. Poland clearly makes an argument for the causes behind the causes of the obesity epidemic. Let's evaluate Poland's argument. Write Poland's central claim below.
Yes. So, Asma, can you tell me what is his central claim? His central claim for the whole excerpt about the obesity. What was the obesity cause? He said that the reason for people are fat or obesity extremely fattening. What was the reason? When food is what? People eat more and they do not stop. Like people when they go to open buffet, girls. Have you gone to an open buffet before?
Yes.
Yes, what happens there? What do people do?
And they eat more and more.
Yes, why?
Because it's cheap.
Yes, it's free. So we can understand that when food is abundant, people do what, Asma?
They eat more.
Yes, they eat more and more. Thank you, Asma. Bilqis?
Yes.
Bilqis? Bayan? Husayna? Yes, Husayna? Okay, so the he says here the central claim. So write the first thing, the central claim here. When food is abundant and cheap, people will eat more of it and get fat. So we all agree on this central claim, girls?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Second question, what?
What reason
Uh-huh.
Pauling gives to support his central claim? Identify the following reasons for each detail of Pauling claim. Then describe the evidence he uses to support his reason.
Yes.
Reasons food is abundant.
Yes. Why food is abundant? Why there is much food?
Because it's cheap, right?
Yes, it's cheap. What made it cheap? What made this food cheap? The government does what? The government does what to the raw materials of junk food or fast food?
Like it's bad for
Hmm?
like it's bad for the health.
Yes,
Like
it is bad for health, but the government does what? It makes something. It encourages planting what? It helps subsidizes planting what? Encourages planting what? Corn and soybeans. Buthaina, are you with me?
yes, miss.
So you said it right. The reason food is abundant is that it is cheap. What made the food cheap?
The plant, the place, the corn and seed.
Yes, the corn and the syrup that the government encourages to plant. So read it, please.
Food is abundant because farmers have been encouraged to overproduce corn and soybeans.
Yes, thank you, Buthaina. Okay. Oh. And then he wants, so reason food is abundant, and then the evidence. What is an evidence was said, Dalia?
Yes.
Yes. What is an evidence? Poland said that food is abundant. We say now the reason food is abundant, that food is abundant because farmers have been encouraged to overproduce corn and soybeans. How did we know in the excerpt that the government have encouraged to overproduce the corn and soybeans? How did we know? Did you know before? Did you know before? Yeah, before reading the excerpt, did you know this, yeah, Dalia?
No.
So how did you know it? Please look at the excerpt, you and Dareen. How did we know, Dalia and Dareen, how did we know that food is abundant? Because farmers have been encouraged to overproduce corn and soybeans. How did we know? From the excerpt. You will find it in the excerpt. Dareen? Dalia? Durra?
Yes, miss.
Do you know?
Miss, I think it's from like the last page,
Huh?
line 80.
When he said what?
One reason that obesity and diabetes become more prevalent. The further down the
Yes.
is it correct, Miss?
Yes, because the strategy, when he talks about the strategy that the government signs, right, Idurra?
Yes.
Yes, so read it, please. Read the answer, the evidence.
Poland states that in 1970 the government ended programs to prevent overproduction. He also uses data. Since the 1970s, farmers in the US produce 500 calories per person per day.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Dora. We
You're
go to 3 reason food is cheap. There is another reason food is cheap. Another reason food is cheap. Fatima, can you say it?
Just a minute, Miss. And the reason for this year because it's not processed. It is processed rather
Yes.
than being organic.
Excellent, excellent. And those who plant want to sell all their harvesting. So all of the what they have harvested. So they sell it cheap. Okay? Read it, please.
More food means lower prices because farmers want to sell all of their crop.
Okay. So how did we know it? He wants to ask how did we know it? It is logically understood. We can understand that people
Miss
when they
Nada?
plant some. Yes, dear. Dareen. Yes.
Miss, sorry, I didn't answer because my mic wasn't working.
I understood it. So a little evidence is offered for this reason, but it is generally economic principle that we know that when people plant more, they want to sell everything they have, so they sell it with a cheap price. Okay? Okay. Then Ghada. Ghada. Ghada's not here today. Jana. Joanna.
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Jana. Jana, read the question.
Reason. Miss, there's no question.
Yes. Reason people eat too much. Why they eat too much, people? Why people eat too much?
Maybe because of boredom.
Yes, and there was something we talked about genes.
To store up thoughts.
Yes, to store up fats. Excellent. Why they store? Why people? Why the first man used to store fats? Uh, when there was the first man used to store fats when there is no time, when there is time of famine, when
Scarcity.
yes, scarcity of food. Yes, excellent. Read it, dear.
Yes.
Yes.
Ghadi says no, she messaged me and she told me that she's raising her hand, but she don't know why her mic is not opening.
Okay, okay, so I will erase that she is not absent.
Poland
Continue.
says that the reason people eat too much is because we have thrifty gene.
Yes, a thrifty gene. What did the thrifty gene say? What does it do? Yeah.
It causes us to overeat when food is abundant, storing up fat that our bodies can live on when there is not enough food.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jana. We yeah. What is an evidence in the text? Jude, can you give me an evidence of the text to support what Jana said? Yes, please. In the excerpt, in which line did he talk about this thrifty gene? Yes, dear, do you know?
No, miss.
Okay. Who can get me, girls, the part when he talked about the thrifty gene?
Miss, I think line 55.
Okay. Say it, read it.
Opposite researchers call this trait the Thrifty gene, and while the gene represents a useful adaptation in an environment of food scarcity and unpredictability.
Yes, dear. So read it. Poland speaks.
Poland speaks generally of this gene but doesn't provide any science to back it up. He preferences obesity researchers in general.
Yes. Okay. Then the following question. Jumana, why people eat too much processed food?
Because our bodies are programmed by evolution.
Yes, and what is so yummy about processed food? What do they add?
Um, Sugars and fats.
Excellent. So read it, dear.
Processed food is full of fat and sugar. Our bodies love fat and sugar because they taste great and are full of calories, which appeals to our thrifty gene.
Yes, appeal to our thrifty gene. Again, what is the thrifty gene? Who can tell me what is the thrifty gene? Raise your hand, girls, to tell me what is the thrifty gene. No one can, no. Najwa, yes, please, Najwa. What is the thrifty gene, Najwa?
When we eat too much, like for a famine that never comes.
Yes. Why people used to why do we have this thrifty gene? Yani we inherited it from the first man because the first man faced what?
Famine and scarcity.
Yes. Scarcity of it. Excellent. So we said the first reason, his central claim is food is abundant and cheap. People eat more of it and get fat. When food is abundant and cheap, people will eat more and get fat. So first part, why food is abundant? Reason food is abundant, because again, when food is abundant and cheap, people will eat more and get fat. The first one, food is abundant. Why food is abundant? Food is abundant because the farmers have been encouraged to overproduce corn and soybeans. How did we know? The strategies. Number two, why food is cheap? Because the farmers want to sell all what they have planted, so they sell it with a cheap price. Now then, why people eat too much when there is abundant of food? When the food is abundant, they eat because of the thrifty gene that you save your calories. Okay. Then why people eat too much processed food? Because they add sugar and fat, and sugar and fat, our bodies love sugar and fat because of the thrifty gene. Okay, thank you Jumana. لين حياني، لين عمار. لين عمار.
Miss Nada.
Yes, dear.
Teacher, in page 265, line 26, when they said that the cause behind the cause, which is very simply is this, and they mentioned when food is abundant and cheap, here they mean this is the cause, not the cause behind the cause, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is a cause, and the cause behind the cause is the government strategies.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, هو لين عمار. ليليان. لينايات. Yes, Lilian. Okay, we at 5. What is an evidence that people like to eat processed food from the excerpt? He talks about the processed food. because they provide more calories for less money. Where can you find it in the excerpt? Where can you find it in the excerpt, girls, that people like to eat processed food?
Miss, I think line 70. I'm not sure.
Who answers?
Jude.
Excellent, Jude. Excellent. So, Liliane, do you hear me?
Yes.
So go check around line 70 and tell me exactly where does it talk, or where Poland talks about the processed food. Read it, Jude.
You begin to see why processing food is such a good strategy for getting people to eat more of them. The power of the food science lies in its ability to break down into their nutrients part and then reassemble them in specific ways that in effect push off all our evolutionary buttons, following the omnivore's inherited food selection system. Add fat or sugar to anything and it's going to taste better on the tongue of an animal that natural selection has wired to seek out energy-dense foods.
Excellent, Jude. Excellent. Okay, so Liliane, can you please read the answer? I wrote for it is written for you in the PowerPoint. Liliane?
Yes, sorry for I was lagging. In line 78 to 94, Pauline also says that people eat more processed foods because they provide more calories for less money, because the price of fat and sugar has plummeted with the overproduction of corn and soya beans. Processed foods provide cheaper calories than healthy fruits and vegetables.
Yes. So how did he support this? How did he support that people eat more processed food because they provide more calories for less money? How he supported? Again, it's an argumentative essay. When we write argumentative, we have a main claim and reasons, and we support the reason. We are analyzing an argumentative essay as we used to write it in the first term. So now here, what is the detail that he supported? He supports this part that people eat more in this. Lynn Ayad. Malak Wasim answered. Najwa answered. Natalie.
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Natalie. Can you get me where did he talk about that people eat more processed food? Because what did he support it? How did he support this? Supported by a statistic, by a fact, by
Just give me a second. By statistics?
Yes, where is it? Which one? Which line?
85 to 90.
What was written?
Found
he
that
mentioned the study. Huh?
Yeah, research found that $1 could buy 1,020 calories.
Yes, there. Okay, and there is
wait,
another.
that's for being cheap. Wait. I can't find it. Do you know which page it is?
Okay. Okay, so read the answer there when he cites what? A study.
In line 78 to 94, evidence. Paul studies a study in American Journal of Clinical Nutrition comparing calories amount in junk food and fruits and vegetables.
Yes. So these girls, he mentioned 3 reasons till now, and each reason was written in the claim, and each reason was supported by a fact, a statistic, a study. Okay? Thank you, Natalie. Note. Noor Bilal.
Yes, miss.
Yes, Noor, please read the question.
What implied claim does pollen make in the final paragraph?
Yes, what in the final paragraph, what was the last claim did he say? And we understood it, implied claim. That the hidden reason behind all of that.
That when doctors and surgeons just keep making people aware of obesity, the government keep adding the corn and soybeans to the food and making it cheaper.
So is the main responsible for the main reason for, or the part that is that holds the responsibility for obesity in America is what?
The government.
Excellent. You read the answer.
Pollen implies that government policies are responsible for the obesity epidemic.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, dear. Noor Abdel Karim, question 7.
Next to your answers above, identify which reasons and evidence are the best developed.
One girl says teacher or miss? Who
yes,
says?
me.
Who?
No.
Yes, note. Okay. Okay. Continue, Noor.
Next to your answers above, identify which reasons and evidence are the best developed.
Yes, which one? What did you, which reason did you feel that he developed it well and he convinced you with it?
I think that the reasons that people eat so much processed food.
Yes, why?
Because as an evidence, he states that when he said that a recent study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared the energy cost of different foods in the supermarket.
Excellent, dear. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, question 8. Note.
Yes, miss.
Yes, read the question. Something when you're with your mic. Rama. Rima. Sarah.
Yes, miss.
Yes, sir.
Number 8, right?
Yes.
Next to your answers above, identify which reasons and evidence are underdeveloped. Miss, I think when he talked about the Thrifty Gene, like there wasn't like a scientific evidence about.
Excellent. Indeed, excellent.
So yeah, I think
the Thrifty Gene.
The only point that's underdeveloped, but the others they're like perfectly stated.
Excellent. The Thrifty Gene he did. Why? Because he didn't mention scientific explanation for it. Thank you, dear.
Okay.
Dana Wael. Dana Shaheen. Okay. The last question, he wants you to search more about the Thrifty Gene. Do you have here homework? Discuss your evaluation of Poland's arguments? No. So, oh no, yes. Do you find it convincing or not support your opinion with evidence? So instead of discussing it with a partner, you will write it. Okay? So I will upload the assignment for you.
Which one, miss?
This is the second lesson. But instead with a partner, you write it. Just few lines, 2 lines, 3 lines, nothing more than this.
Okay.
You summarize what we've written together.
But do we write in the book or in the Word or what?
Write it anywhere and picture it, write it in the Word as you want, yani, as you want.
This is homework.
Yes, homework.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we stop here and I see you after 5 minutes, girls.
Teacher, it's number 9.
Number 9 is you search for the Thrifty Gene. No, it's don't search.
Oh, so it's which one?
I'll tell you. Let's go and then when you come back, I'll tell you. so we be on time.
Bye.